Hello you and welcome back to Scandinavian Design 101. I'm Sanna.
I'm Andreas and we are two Swedes and we love design. In this video we will tell you the early history of the legendary furniture manufacturer Thonet and the development of their iconic bentwood chairs. This story is really fascinating since it's in the early days of industrialization. It's not wrong to say that Thonet produced functionalist furniture 100 years before functionalism even was invented. And since this story takes place already in the mid-19th century and some details seems a bit difficult to verify, you have to forgive us if some dates or details are slightly wrong.
Let's start even earlier than that. The designer and industrial pioneer Mikael Thonet was born in 1796 in the small German city of Boppard.
Yeah.
That is a fun name.
Yeah.
At the age of 23, he opened his own business as a cabinet maker, producing furniture in the dominating Biedermeier style.
Yeah.
It was traditional heavy wooden pieces sold at the local market. At this time, he married Anna Gras, and over the following years, the couple got no less than 6 daughters and 7 sons. 2 of the sons died at a young age, but the remaining 5 would later come to join the family business.
Thonet understood the importance of technical innovation and soon started experimenting to make his furniture stronger and more portable. During the 1830s, he managed to create chair parts by bending thick bundles of veneer soaked in glue. The parts were heated up in molds to create the preferred shapes. Basically, this same technique would 100 years later be used by modernists like the Eameses in the US and not least Alvar Aalto in Finland. Initially, Thonet intended to replace the curved backrest traditionally carved from a solid piece of wood, but he soon took this technique even further. In 1836, he came up with his first really successful chair, the so-called Boppard layerwood chair. And the upper part looked pretty much like an ordinary Biedermeier chair, but the legs were indeed innovative. Created from veneer, the front and back legs were joined together by an elegant bow. And this chair was a proof that Thonet's innovative ideas could be transformed into actual furniture. But the overall appearance was somewhat weird, I think. This would soon come to change when traditional shapes were abandoned and the first all bentwood chairs were developed. To succeed with this, a new bending technique was developed using steam to make solid wood soft and shapeable.
In 1841, Thonet and his large family was invited to Vienna by the Austrian statesman Clemens von Metternich, possibly, who understood the potential of the new bentwood furniture. For 4 years, Thonet and 4 of his sons were commissioned by a local cabinet maker to design furniture and parquet floors used when remodeling the large Liechtenstein palace.
Yeah.
The floors and not least the revolutionary furniture got a lot of attention when they were exhibited for the public in 1850, which was appreciated by Thonet, who had just opened a workshop of his own together with his sons.
Yeah. The chair number 1 was one of the first chairs launched by the new company. Customers among the elite in Vienna were highly excited and the company got a lot of attention. Soon, the renowned Café Daum made a large order of chairs and became the first public place ever to be furnished with bentwood chairs. These chairs, given model number 4, differed quite a bit from the previous chairs designed by Thonet. All connections with old styles were totally abandoned, and the fluid lines were purely a result of the material and technique used. The chairs were produced from mahogany and were used at the café for more than 15 years when they were replaced by new Thonet designs.
The first ever Thonet showroom was opened in Vienna in 1852, and the workshop with 42 employees was moved to larger facilities. A steam engine was also acquired to rationalize the manufacturing process. The following year, the 56-year-old Thonet transferred the company to his sons, renaming it Gebrüder Thonet.
Yeah.
The Thonet brothers. Gebrüder. Sales were good, and a large new factory was opened in 1857 in Moravia, now a part of the Czech Republic. The location was chosen for its huge beechwood forests and not least a large amount of cheap labor. Now Thonet became a true industrial company when cabinet makers were replaced by employees responsible for certain parts of the production. Men performed the heavy job of bending the wood, while women sanded, polished, and packed the products. This transformation resulted in a lot of new machinery built by Thonet themselves, and to make transport easier, the furniture were no longer glued but screwed together. And this made them dismountable and possible to ship in flat packs.
Yeah.
In other words, the IKEA concept 100 years before IKEA. In the coming years, 5 more factories were established in Central Europe.
A large milestone came in 1859 when the small side chair number 14 was introduced. The big innovation was the circular seat supported by a ring-shaped piece of bentwood. It became Thonet's most iconic product, and it's still in production actually, with some 50 million pieces produced. By 1900, the same seat and legs were used for more than 100 different back designs. We must also mention the first bentwood rocking chair introduced in 1860. At the time, rocking chairs were heavy, difficult to produce, and not least expensive, and Thonet decided to change that. Traditional rocking chairs were nothing but an ordinary chair standing on arch-shaped runners, but Thonet decided to design a completely new type. The result was a rocking chair much like the cantilever chair MR20 designed by Mies van der Rohe and Lily Reich some 50 years later. The bentwood rocking chair were slow in finding a market, but in the following decades production grew to about 100,000 pieces annually. The huge success with their chairs encouraged Thonet to start producing a long range of other products, among other things hat stands, walking sticks, cribs and the wash stands. The pieces were often influenced by the dominating Art Nouveau style. When Michael Thonet died in 1871, the company had sales locations across Europe as well as in the US.
And finally, we want to mention the iconic armchair 6009, nowadays known as the B9. The seat is wide and the curved backrest continues forward in an elegant bend, forming the armrests. This model was highly appreciated by modernist architects like Le Corbusier, who used it in several interiors in the 20s and 30s. Paul Henningsen considered it to be a perfect chair, and when Kåre Klint launched his Faubourg chair in 1914, he compared it with the Thonet chair with the following sarcastic words. By making this chair 5 times as expensive, 3 times heavier, half as comfortable and only a fraction as beautiful, an architect can make a good name for himself.
Yeah. And yeah, that was all for today.
Yeah.
Hope you found it interesting. And do you have a favorite from Thonet? Please tell us in the comments below.
Yeah, please do. Thank you so much for watching.
Yeah, thank you.